What does Devil's Hour actually mean? What happens to people who wake up at 3:33 in the morning? Do you want to understand the mysteries of the night? Discover what lurks in the late afternoon shadows? Then you are exactly where you need to be. Have you ever wondered why you sometimes suddenly wake up at 3:33 in the morning? This mysterious phenomenon, known as the Devil's Hour, has intrigued and frightened people all over the world throughout time. But what is actually hidden behind these inexplicable awakenings? Throughout history, many cultures have reported paranormal occurrences that seem to be concentrated between 3 and 4 in the morning. It is said that during this interval, the barrier between our world and the beyond becomes thinner, allowing restless spirits to cross easily. What if right now, as you read these lines, there was another dimension opening up? Every minute spent awake at 3:33 seems like an eternity, a time suspended between past and future, between reality and dream. During this dead time, as it is often called, many people report life-changing phenomena, strange visions, unexplained cold sensations, even paralysis during sleep. But what really happens in those moments? Is it just an illusion of the tired mind or an alarm signal sent by our subconscious? Science tries to provide rational explanations. Some researchers, such as psychologist Greg Murray, suggest that these awakenings are linked to the body's circadian rhythms. He explains that around 3 a.m., our bodies go through a tipping point, melatonin levels drop, body temperature begins to rise, and we prepare for a new day. But this only explains the physical appearance, not the supernatural happenings described by so many. I invite you to explore this topic more on our channel, where we discuss and analyze the most fascinating and scary stories. Why not subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode? We're curious to hear your opinion too. Do you believe in the supernatural, or are they just stories to scare us in the middle of the night? As we journey together through the mystery of 3:33, we invite you to share your own experiences with us. Have you ever had any strange happenings at this time? How did you feel? Your answers could help us decipher this enigma of the night. Remember, together we can explore and maybe even solve the mystery of dead time. Stay tuned for more discoveries and exciting stories to keep you awake, maybe even until 3:33. Certain unexplained phenomena have occurred over the years between 3 and 4 in the morning, of which there have even been reports. In an hour's time, the threshold between the world of the living and the world beyond is erased, and demons and spirits cursed to have no peace roam unhindered from one dimension to another. About the bizarre events that take place, especially at 3:33, and what follows. What does Devil's Hour or the mystery of dead time mean? Over time, several people have reported waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning for no reason, fully awake, moments when strange, inexplicable, and illogical things happen, namely, experiencing some paranormal events. Some of them alleged paralysis during sleep, while others spoke of contact with certain spirits, or of a terrible chill no matter how warm the house may have been, which is believed to be the sign of the passing of a spirit. In these moments, people are filled with a terrible, almost palpable fear. The events are triggered especially at 3:33, which esotericists call Devil's Hour or Dead Time Hour. Attempts to explain, scientifically speaking, these events remain without a rational answer. All the victims of the Devil's Hour, without exception, experienced a phenomenon that marked their existence. No matter how long the nightmare lasted, be it dreamed or lived, the time was the same, 3:33, from which the explanation was reached that in those minutes time suspends its existence, and dreams and experiences take place in another time, in a dead hour too, or as they say, time enters clinical death. What would actually be the logical explanation? According to some investigations, the reason why the events take place in this interval is that then the immune system is more vulnerable, while such paranormal phenomena occur only in people with a special neural sensitivity, because they perceive them much more intensely, having suffered after them. Since the body is very weak from an energetic point of view, between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, the elderly are prone to cross the border of death. What's more, between these hours the spirits would become much more active, according to esotericists. The moment with the greatest mystical charge remains, however, 3:33. Greg Murray, a psychology researcher with expertise in mood, sleep, and the circadian system, the internal clock that regulates sleep, explains what it's like to wake up at 3 a.m. When I wake up at 3 a.m. or so, I take care of myself. A friend of mine calls 3 a.m. thoughts barbed wire thinking because you can get caught up in it. The events are triggered especially at 3:33, which esotericists call devil's hour or dead time hour. Attempts to explain, scientifically speaking, these events remain without a rational answer. The thoughts are often distressing and punitive. Strikingly, these concerns evaporate in the light of day, proving that the thought of 3 was completely irrational and unproductive. So what's going on? What happens in your body at 3 in the morning? During normal sleep, our neurobiology reaches a tipping point around 3 or 4 in the morning. The body's core temperature begins to rise, the desire to sleep decreases, because we slept a lot, the secretion of melatonin, the sleep hormone, has peaked, and the levels of cortisol, a stress hormone, increases the body prepared to launch us the next day. Remarkably, all this activity takes place independently of environmental cues such as dawn light. Nature decided long ago that sunrise and sunset are so important that they must be predicted, hence the circadian system. In fact, we wake up several times each night, and light sleep is more common in the second half of the night. When our sleep is going well, we are simply not aware of these awakenings. But add a little stress, and there's a good chance that waking up will turn into a state of full awareness. Not surprisingly, there is evidence that the pandemic is a stressor that disrupts sleep. So if you're experiencing 3 a.m. wake-ups right now, you're definitely not alone. Stress also impacts sleep and insomnia, where people become hypervigilant about being awake. Worrying about being awake when one should be sleeping can cause the person to suddenly wake up anxiously whenever they are in a light sleep phase. If this sounds like you, be aware that insomnia responds well to psychological treatment with cognitive behavioral therapy. There is also a strong link between sleep and depression, so it's important to talk to your doctor if you have concerns about your sleep. The catastrophe in the morning hours. As a cognitive therapist, I sometimes joke that the only good thing about waking up at 3 a.m. is that it gives us all a living example of catastrophizing. During this time of the sleep cycle, we are at our lowest physical and cognitive level. By nature, this is meant to be a time of physical and emotional recovery, so it is understandable that our internal resources are low. But we also lack other resources in the middle of the night: social connections, cultural assets. All the coping skills of an adult are not available at this time. Without any of our skills and human capital, we are left alone in the dark with our thoughts. So the mind is partially right when it concludes that the problems it has generated are unsolvable. At 3 a.m., most problems would literally be that way. Once the sun is up, we listen to the radio, chew toast, and push the cat off the bench, and our 3 a.m. problems are put into perspective. We can't believe that the solution to call this person, postpone that thing, or check something like that was overlooked in the wee hours of the morning. The truth is, our minds aren't really looking for a solution at 3 a.m. We might think we are solving problems by mentally working on things at this time, but this is not really problem solving. It is the evil twin of problem solving: worry. Worry is identifying a problem, ruminating on the worst possible outcome, and neglecting the resources we would make available should the unpreferred outcome occur. So what can we do about it? Have you noticed that your 3 a.m. thoughts are very self-centered? In the quiet darkness, it is easy to slip without realizing it into a state of extreme self-centeredness. By revolving around the self-concept, we can generate retrograde painful feelings such as guilt or regret. Or to direct our tired thoughts towards the ever-uncertain future, generating unfounded fears. Buddhism has a firm position on this kind of mental activity. The self is a fiction, and this fiction is the source of all suffering. Many of us now practice Buddhist-informed mindfulness to manage stress during the day. I use mindfulness to deal with waking up at 3 a.m. I bring my attention to my senses, especially the sound of my breathing. When I notice thoughts arise, I gently bring my attention back to the sound of my breath. Sometimes this meditation works. Sometimes it doesn't work. If after 15 or 20 minutes I'm still caught up in negative thoughts, I follow the advice of cognitive behavioral therapy and get up, turn on a dim light, and read. This action may seem trivial, but at 3 a.m. it is powerfully compassionate and can help you snap out of your unproductive thinking. One final tip: it's important to convince yourself, during the day, that you want to avoid catastrophic thinking. For good reasons not to worry, you can't go past the Stoic philosophers. Waking up and worrying at 3 a.m. is very understandable and very human. But in my opinion, it's not a great habit to get into. On our nocturnal journey, we discovered together many aspects of the mysterious Devil's Hour. We explored scientific hypotheses, paranormal stories, and personal testimonies that left us with more questions than answers. But is this the true essence of the mystery? We've reached the end of this episode, but our journey is just beginning. What other secrets do the late hours of the night hide? What untold stories are still waiting, ready to be discovered and revealed in the spotlight of our analysis? And most importantly, what might you discover about your own nocturnal experience if you continue to explore and question? I invite you to come back to our channel to continue discovering the secrets of the night together. There are countless stories waiting to be told, each with its own intrigue and mystery. Why not join our community and contribute your own observations and theories? What if the next episode revealed even more about the hidden powers of time and night? Could this be the key to better understanding other unexplained phenomena? And what if the answers we seek are closer than we imagine, hidden in our own experiences? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a moment of this enigmatic journey. We look forward to coming back for more stories, analysis, and, of course, more questions. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and always ask yourself, what is hiding in the shadow of 333?